Hello, hello! Perfidious Pete here with a little something different for you today as I prepare to delve into the monster and horror-filled depths of a ruined manor in Perfidious Pete Plays Darkest Dungeon. What is Darkest Dungeon? Well, Darkest Dungeon is a new release from Red Hook Studios that combines sort of your classic turn-based dungeon crawler with some elements of roguelikes and RPG games, along with a few fairly innovative kind of psychological mechanics to produce what is, overall, a pretty surprisingly complex and emergent little strategy game. Now, I do feel compelled to mention that Darkest Dungeon is still in early access and it's not yet fully feature complete, but that being said, what I've played of it so far has felt pretty damn polished for an early access game. Additionally, it has an art style that's very pleasing, sort of a minimalistic, kind of gothic vibe that reminds me a great deal of Mike Mignola's work on Hellboy. So if you're familiar with any of the Hellboy comics, it's got a very kind of similar visual sort of aesthetic. The voice acting, while not amazing, is solid work, kind of journeyman level voice acting, and the controls and gameplay are both very straightforward and intuitive. Basic mechanics of the game are pretty easy to grasp, and there's a fairly strong tutorialization going on so that you know how everything works. But based with just a few simple tools, they still develop a pretty sufficient depth in order to make each run through the dungeon feel pretty unique and different. There's also sort of a story aspect to the game, which kind of revolves around a broken man's desire to atone for his past crimes and restore his family's house to its former glory. It's kind of a what happened to the house of Usher after the fall sort of thing. This would be like in a post-Usher-esque sort of scenario. And while the story aspect is not hugely well developed, it is strong enough to sort of support the basic dungeon delving premise and keep it afloat and working. So far, I've spent about 5 hours with Darkest Dungeon, and I have to say, I'm really impressed with what I've seen thus far. The folks at Red Hook have engineered themselves a pretty enjoyable little experience here with this game, and I'm looking forward to playing a lot of it. The game's currently available through Steam Early Access if you're interested in checking it out for yourself, and there's a link in the description below. But I think that's probably enough description and foreplay. I think probably what we should do here is just start a new game and get down to what we came for. So, of course, we've got to click the letter here and name our manor. I don't think we'll be calling this Darkest Manor, of course. This is going to be Perfidious Manor. And let's get started. Now, the intro here is going to play, and I'm just going to sort of let it roll, speak for itself. Basically, the Roderick Usher-esque character has called us in to help him reclaim his fallen fortune.
You will arrive along the old road.
There we go.
It winds with a troubling serpent-like suggestion.
And you can easily see sort of the Mignola-esque kind of artwork just straight out from the get-go.
To ever more tenebrous places.
This could easily be right out of the pages of one of Mignola's comics. That being said, I really like the art style. It has a strong appeal to me. Probably because I'm a huge Hellboy fan, but still.
And perhaps
some bandits there lurking for us.
Transcendent terrors.
Ghosts. Ooh, spooky.
So steel yourself, and remember that.
Oh, I'm steeled, buddy. I'm steeled.
Without madness.
I got into a stagecoach that guy was driving. What the hell is wrong with me? If that guy was driving my stagecoach, I am not getting on board of it. I mean, that's just a recipe to get cornholed in a sort of Deliverance-like scene. These guys are... These adventurers here are definitely braver men and women than I am. I would not ride on that stagecoach. No fucking way. Not even if John Wayne was riding shotgun with me. Not getting on it. I don't want to have to squeal like a pig. That's not going to be any fun. Alright, so we've got sort of our tutorial mission here. And the game is periodically going to pop these up sort of to tell us how to play. We navigate, of course, through the dungeon by interacting with this map primarily, and then you use WAS and D to sort of move around the game world, if you will. But you can see our crashed stagecoach there behind us, so we've got to pick our destination, and you can move back and forth. But we got to move to our next destination. This is going to start us walking. There you go. Just DNA moves you forward. Now, we do have up here, this is our light meter, which tells us how much light we have available. The more light we have, the more likely we are to surprise enemies, and the less likely we are for enemies to surprise us. And this is telling us how combat works, but I've played enough of this that I sort of have a feel for it. Now, your heroes all have a speed stat, which determines basically the turn order. Every turn starts, and everybody goes in an initiative sort of based on their speed characteristics. As you can see, old Dismas here is pretty damn quick with a 6 speed. So he has a couple different moves. He can open vein, which has its base accuracy of 85, which again is then going to be modified by this gentleman's defense tactics. Also his dodge. He has a dodge of 2, which is pretty low. But open vein will cause the target to bleed 2 points a round for 3 rounds. He has pistol shot, which he can't use because this guy is too close. And once we get multiple enemies into a fight, I'll sort of explain how the ranges and whatnot work. Grape shot blast, which is a sort of a close range AoE attack that hits multiple targets. And take aim, which is a buff on himself that just gives him bonus accuracy on his next shot and a bonus chance to crit. We're just going to go ahead and open vein on this guy. He dodged. And this is Reynald, our Crusader. He has Smite, which is just an 80% damage attack, does some pretty solid damage. As you can see, if we put that over him, we have a 78% chance to hit with 5% crit chance. It's going to do between 6 and 13 damage, so not enough to kill him. He has Zealous Accusation, which is an area of effect attack that hits the first 2 spots in the combat. Stunning Blow, which is actually the attack we're going to use. 83% chance to hit, 5 for a crit. That's going to do 2 to 5 damage, but it does have a chance to stun this guy. The base stun on this is 100%. He has 25% resistance, so we have a 75% chance to stun him. That's what we're going to do. And that worked out for us nicely. So on his next turn, he's just going to get skipped. We're going to open vein again. And then I think we'll probably just try and clock him before he wakes up.
As the fiend falls.
So there you go. Reynald claiming first blood. Striking down the lone bandit who was foolish enough to attack 2 armed men on his way in. And then we're just going to keep walking. So as you can see, as we walk, our light meter goes down. Things get darker. Now, ordinarily you have in your inventory a supply of torches, but we don't have any because we just crashed our stagecoach. Apparently our stagecoach driver was not only just a ridiculous lunatic, but drunk as shit as well. Interactive objects. There are periodically you will encounter as you travel through the dungeon. And I'll talk about those little brown numbers in a moment. Just objects that you can interact with. This is the brigand's tent. We're going to see what's inside of it. He left some valuables behind.
Leave nothing unchecked.
We're going to steal them and move along.
To be found in forgotten places.
Now, the little black numbers that you continually see popping up, those are stress. As you can see, all of our heroes have a stress meter down here. Now, as your heroes get stressed, they fight. They tend to fight more poorly. When they reach maximum stress, they're going to have sort of a moment of crisis in which they have to decide whether they're going to be heroes or cowards, and you'll see a little more of that later on. But having high stress on a hero, typically it's a bad thing. You want to try and keep your stress as minimal as possible. We're going to go ahead and use Grape Shot. Now, this is going to hit both of these enemies. Grape Shot, as you can see, can be fired from either the 2nd or 3rd position in a party. You get up to 4 people in a party. And it hits the first 3 enemies in a stack. So we're going to go ahead and just bang, shoot that. So a little bit of damage to both of our enemies. This guy effectively is going to do the same thing. Fortunately for us, both of our heroes dodged. So we're going to try and stun the Brigand Bloodletter. Boink. And he resisted the stun, so instead we just got 2 damage out of that. And our dodges have been solid so far. Man, Dismas is just, he refuses to be hit. He's greasy. As elusive as Robert Denby he is. Alright, so he's hit, and we've got one of the targets bleeding. Here comes a blanket fire. Still dodging, man. Our guys are just, they're insane. They refuse to go down. A little bit of punishment. A few light lashes here. That's okay. You can give Dismas a little lashing. He's kind of into that. He sort of likes that sort of thing. I mean, some people pay big money for that, and all Dismas had to do was crash his stagecoach and wander out in the forest, and he's getting that action for free, so, I mean, it's sort of a win. I'm going to go with another Grape Shot Blast and try and injure this guy in the back to the point where perhaps we can get him killed. We failed the Stunning Blow 3 times. I feel it's due. Gambler's Fallacy in action for you right there, folks. You're never due, ever. Both of our guys resisted bleed, but Dismas is already afflicted, so there you can see he's bleeding. Guess we'll just Grape Shot again. We've got to try and kill that little guy in the back who's sort of working us over with his gun. Or he would be, rather, if he ever hit, but he continually misses. Rain of Whips. Sounds like a scene from the upcoming 50 Shades of Grey film. There was a rain of whips, and Anastasia writhed in pleasure as the delicate fingers of the lash rained down upon her porcelain-smooth skin. Those lines may actually be in the novel. I wouldn't know. I actually haven't read it, but it seems like the sort of thing that one would find in a Twilight fanfiction. So there we go. Our battle is over through a combination of aggressive rope-a-dope dodging and some mediocre sword work. Our heroes have managed to triumph. We picked up a little bit of gold, found some deeds and some crests. Now, deeds and crests are items that you use to upgrade your Hamlet, which we're about to arrive to, so you'll see that in a moment. Now, this chest is trapped. If we open it without a key, something bad will happen. I'm going to do it just so you can kind of get an idea. Probably will wind up getting stressed. It's trapped. We got blighted, which is no big deal because this mission is over. Blight is effectively very similar to bleed. As you can see, 2 damage per round for 3 rounds. But our quest is over, so we're going to head off to our Hamlet here. And as a reward for completing the quest, we got 5,000 gold plus what we found, and these collected heirlooms. 2 of our heroes leveled up from level 0 to level 1, and as you can see, Reynald here picked up an ability. Reynald is deadly! He gets plus 1% crit. So let's head on into the Hamlet.
Welcome home.
And here we see our caretaker. Now, our caretaker here is sort of the guy that's hired us, gives us our mission, and he's got some goals for us to go ahead and complete. Quest goals are sort of the primary ones. He's not a happy man, effectively. Actually, reminds me a lot like me. Reminds me of me. So Dismas and Reynald leveled up, as you can see. That's the only thing going in our activity log, so we can close that. Now, we have... Get help where you may. Yes, we know how this works. So here on the old Perfidious estate so far, we have managed to unlock 2 facilities. We've got a graveyard, which is where dead heroes go.
Covered in the poisoned earth.
And the Abbey, all these things are still locked, other than our stagecoach. We do have access to our stagecoach. Stagecoach is where you get new heroes. So here on our stagecoach, as you can see, we've got a couple different options of what we can do. We can upgrade our stagecoach, which allows us to pull in more heroes on a weekly basis. It's actually one of the better upgrades you can get. And I am actually going to increase the total number of heroes. This will allow us, instead of just 2 heroes after each week of adventuring, we will get 3 heroes after each week of adventuring. We can also upgrade our hero barracks, which increases the number of heroes we can have at total at our disposal. Currently, we can have 9. But I would rather have a wider selection of heroes early than extra heroes. I mean, we're not near 11 anyway, so I'm going to upgrade my stagecoach network one more time.
More arrive, foolishly.
And we need 4 heroes, so we're going to go ahead and hire these 2 chumps. Now, we can take a look at our heroes' abilities by just right-clicking on them. It brings up a sort of a little status screen for our heroes. We're pretty familiar with what Reynald's got to offer here, but we can take a look at his stats. He's a warrior of light, so he does more damage when your light level is high. He's deadly, of course, because you just picked that up. He's a kleptomaniac, which means periodically when you find stuff in dungeons, he's just going to keep it. And he's God-fearing, which means that in town he only prays for stress relief. As your stress goes up, there are things you can do to help lower it, usually in town after the end of a mission. Once your stress reaches max rank, taking them on a mission can be very deleterious to the rest of your party. They don't act as ordered. Sometimes they just sort of do their own thing once they have max stress, so it's good to keep your stress low. But all we can do with Reynald, he will only pray. Now, for the names, you can, of course, rename your hero, or you can also fire your hero if you don't like them, and I'm sure we'll see that in action later on. We are going to rename this guy, of course, as... Since this is sort of a House of Usher inspired for me, I'm going to go with the names of all fictional characters, and we're going to start off just naming this Crusader. It's going to be, he's Roderick Usher. So we're going to name him Roderick. Let's get him sorted. Now, our Highwayman here, take a look. He's got a hard noggin, which means he's resistant to stun, quick reflexes, which gives him bonus speed. He's a known cheat, so when he's in town for stress relief, he is not allowed to gamble. And that's fine. And as a known cheat, and sort of a highwayman in general, we're going to name this guy Half-Cocked Jack. After, of course, Half-Cocked Jack Shafto from the Quicksilver series by Neil Stevenson. Fantastic series of novels. If you haven't read them, I highly recommend them. Very good. And we also have a Seeker. Now, your Seeker is sort of your healer, your cleric. As you can see, she's got Divine Grace, which heals for 3 to 5 for just 1 target. She has Divine Comfort, which heals everyone in the party for 1 to 2. She has Illumination, which does a little bit of damage and gives you plus 5 to your torch level, and gives the target minus 20 dodge. And Hand of Light, which is a ranged attack there, does some damage, and gives the bonus, or rather gives the target minus 25% damage and minus 10 accuracy, so it makes them less likely to hit, and it gives her a bonus damage type if the monster type is unholy, like undead or something. It does extra damage. So she is not bad, actually, our Seeker. She has pretty good abilities. Both heal abilities are really sort of necessary early on. You really kind of need those. And I think we'll sort of stick with a theme here, and we're going to name her Madeline Usher. Just, you know, Roderick's sister. Seems appropriate. And our final unit here is Mucident, or Mucident. Oh, he's a Plague Doctor. He has Plague Grenade, which can hit the back 2 targets. and gives them blight for 2 rounds. Also does some minimal amounts of damage. Not a fantastic ability. Incision, which is okay. It's just a sort of a low accuracy, kind of low damage bleed ability. Battlefield Medicine, which cures blight and bleed on himself or any other target. And then he has Disorienting Blast, which sort of shuffles up the enemy should it work. It's not a fantastic ability either. I'm not real enthused with old Mucident here. He's not exactly fantastic. And since he is a plague doctor, or at least a doctor of some variety, I think we'll just go ahead and name him Dr. Moreau. So there we go. We got Roderick and Madeline Usher, Half-Cocked Jack Shafto, and Dr. Moreau are going to be our adventuring party as we venture forth into the Perfidious estate. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's get our first mission under our belts here. Now, you do have to set up your party order, so we're going to put Roderick in the front. He's kind of tanky. Half-Cocked Jack's going to back him up. Let's take a look. Now, Madeline Usher can use both of her heals from either the 3rd or 4th slot. Illumination can only be used from the 3rd slot, and Hand of Light only from the first 2 slots. So we're not exactly going to be getting an abundance of damage out of Madeline. Dr. Moreau can use Blight Grenade from the back 2, Incision only from the 3rd, Battlefield Medicine, or Disorienting Blast actually from any position. So we're going to put Dr. Moreau in 3rd, and let Marlon Brando's bulk sort of shield us, and then Madeline is going to be exclusively healing for us. Now our mission, we have to complete every battle in the dungeon. Alright, so we get 3,000 gold, 2 busts, and 2 crests as a reward for that. So once you've selected your mission or your quest, you have to provision yourselves for the journey. You need food, of course, while you're adventuring. You gotta eat. And food costs 75 gold. We're going to get 3,000 gold for this mission plus what we find. So I'm going to try and spend basically exactly 3,000 gold. I'm going to take 10 foods, so that's 750. And I'm going to take 10 torches as well. Torches are very important. You do not want to run out of torches. Wandering around in the dark gets your heroes a lot of stress. In addition to that, we're going to take a shovel. I've played long enough to know that shovels are very important. Occasionally you'll run into barricades that can only be removed by digging, either with a shovel or with your hands. If you have to dig by hand, your heroes don't really like that. It gives them a lot of stress. They don't care for doing that by hand at all. We're also not going to take a bandage or any medicine because we have a Blight Doctor who can cure both bleed and medicinal. If somebody gets bleed or diseased or bleeding, we can fix that. But we are going to take a key in case we run across any locks, chests, or items. And there we go. So off we go into the ruins. Into the Ruins, by the way, a potential title of an autobiography for any one of our little adventurers here. Into the Ruins. Tale told by a broken man seated in a bar somewhere as he talks about how everything went wrong. We have to fight every battle in this dungeon. Now, one of the best ways to sort of path your way through is to avoid backtracking as little as possible. So in the event that there's a battle in either of these 2 rooms, we're going to head up this way. If we go this way first, we have to backtrack more. And here we go. Here's a barricade. First thing we counter, we're going to need a shovel.
Even the cold stones
So we'll just dig that out of the way, and off we go. Found a box. Let's look in the box. Stashed heirlooms. So we found 4 crests. Fantastic. Now, one thing to do know, you can't abandon your quest at any time, which oftentimes you're going to get in a situation where the quest you're on simply can't be completed, and it's best to just sort of bail out. We're going to burn a torch here. The higher your light level is, the less likely you are to be surprised, the more likely you are to surprise monsters, and the more likely you are to scout, which sort of shows you what's in the map around you. So I like to keep my light level as high as possible. I tend to use a lot of torches. Alright, so here's a battle. Alright, Dismas is going to go first here. I think we're going to have him go ahead and grape shot and just put some damage on all 3 of these front rank troopers. Dr. Moreau is up. We don't need to cure anyone with bleed. Disorienting Blast has some interesting potentials. Incision could get a kill. Plague Grenade is not likely to get a kill. It's going to do, if we look, it's only going to do very, very little damage here. So we can only hit the back 2 targets, neither of which we're particularly interested. So we're just going to go ahead and do Incision. Try to kill that Bone Rabble, get him out of the way. Alright, so he's dead. Now, the white numbers, of course, indicate a decrease in stress. Your heroes, their stress goes down when they critical or when they kill a monster. Alternatively, when they get criticaled or someone dies, their stress goes up. We're just going to have her Divine Comfort. No one is hurt, but if you pass your turn, which you can do, you can also shuffle up your order. But passing your turn actually causes the hero stress. So if they can do anything, it's better to have them do something useless than to do nothing. So the enemy hit us with Stressful Incantation, which as you can see only did 1 damage, but added 19 stress to our hero. So he's in moderately bad shape. Roderick here is going to try and chop down that brawler, and he does so.
Give them no quarter.
Roderick saying to the enemy, "This is my house, bub." Alright, so since we have a bleeding trooper, we're going to do battlefield medicine. We're going to patch Dismas up and get rid of that blight that he has, or bleeding, rather. I think this could get a kill, could it not? Potentially. 4 to 9 damage. So potential kill here. We're going to take it. Oh, a huge blow from half-cocked Jack.
And hope blossoms.
And they don't call him half-cocked because he's only got half a dick. Although that actually is why they called half-cocked Jack, because he did only have half a dick. Little bit of a bad encounter with a sort of a bum syphilis cure. And so Roderick Usher putting the smack down on our cultist friend, but didn't quite get it done. That's okay, though. I have every confidence that old Jack is going to finish things up. And he does indeed. So there's our first battle, first victory. Picked up a little bit of gold, some emeralds and onyx, which are basically just extra gold. Anti-venom, which we can use to cure blight, and some extra food. We're going to take that loot, and we're going to open this chest. It's an heirloom chest, so this one is not locked. It should be safe to loot. Of course it's trapped. Alright, fantastic. Well, he got blighted, but fortunately we have anti-venom, so we'll just go ahead and use that. And then we have to pick our next destination, so let's go to our next room. Oh, that's not good. As you can see, we don't have a shovel, so we're digging through this one by hand. That sucks.
Without tools of iron,
and this thing reminding us that our light level is low. And as you can see, that added considerable stress to everyone in our party. Really don't like digging through those by hand. Gonna bump our light level up a little bit, to the point where our heroes are not getting stressed just wandering around. 2 spiders. We did not get a surprise on him, but that's okay. So Dr. Moreau's going to charge up a spider here, do a little bit of carving. That guy's dead. On his turn, he will actually bleed to death, so we have nothing to worry about there. Going to go ahead and have Madeline heal everybody up, give them a little inspiring speech. Another bleeding spider. And we are going to use Zealous Accusation, which potentially could kill both of these guys. Oh, nope, they dodged. J'accuse, says Roderick, but the spiders say no. And he's going to web our cleric, Madeline, encased in sticky goo, which was sort of always Madeline's fate. Really feel the narrator was totally trustworthy in his motivations toward Madeline, if you know what I mean. Anyway, let's continue on here. And we've got a chest or cabinet of some variety. We're going to open that with Reynald. This is locked, so we'll just use our key. And that got us some treasure. Ooh, a portrait? A lot of gold, actually. That's good. So if we have to, we could bail out now and still come out ahead on this mission. We'd have a couple heirlooms and more money than we spent to provision. So even if the worst case scenario occurs and we do have to run away like shrieking little girls or frightened geisha, we can still come out ahead on this particular venture. Now, your heroes don't get as much experience, of course, if they're forced to flee the dungeon. So how did we not encounter that trap on the way in?
By foul invention.
Little curious about that. That should not be there. Once we've cleared these sections, they should remain clear. Anyway, we're doing some backtracking. Now, backtracking actually also adds stress to your hero. We're gonna eat. Periodically, as you're traveling through the dungeon, you're gonna get hungry. You gotta have enough food. We're gonna use 4 of our available 12 food here. Everyone will heal a little bit. If you don't have food, everyone starves, and they take a little bit of damage, but most importantly, they get a bunch of stress. You want to try and keep your heroes fed. And we're going to head off this way then. Now, we are going to burn some torches, since we've been here a little longer than I'm comfortable with. Another cabinet. Alright, so this is our kleptomania in action. Roderick simply can't resist himself, and he's fallen into a trap and is now bleeding. This time we have the option. It's locked, we don't have a key. It's risky. Let's have Half-Cocked Jack go ahead and open this one. He's a lunatic prone to taking chances. Let's have him. Didn't work out so well for him. But he resisted whatever that was. Probably a bleed, considering that it was red. So Half-Cocked Jack could be bleeding, and we were surprised this time, which, as you can see, shuffles up our order. So a lot of our heroes now are not in the greatest positions. This is actually an interesting situation. I think I'm going to use Illumination and try to lower that cultist dodge. Cultists have a very high dodge, so making them easier to hit is quite useful. And we're going to have Half-Cocked Jack, who is not totally effective from way in the back, but he can still use pistol shot. We're going to see if he can gun that man down. Half-cocked Jack delivering a solid sniper blow. So we're going to have old Dr. Moreau here get to slicing. Let's pretend like he's back on the island and these animals are waiting to be experimented upon, oddly. So some pretty serious bleeding here coming out of old Roderick Usher. And I think Roderick is going to... You know what, we could try and go for the stun, but I'd rather just kill this guy and take him out of action completely. We're going to have Roderick go a little bit of chippity-chop. Graveyard Slash coming from our enemy. And as you can see, Roderick now in pretty rough shape. We're going to have... let's have Half-Cock Jack move, actually. We're going to bump him back up where he belongs. Just in time for the enemy to take a little bit of a Graveyard Slash at him. But we're going to have Dr. Moreau cure up old Roderick Usher there. And Madeline going to continue to pile on the heals. So we're trying to patch Roderick up and get him back in action. Of course, Madeline always looking to support her brother at every opportunity. And Roderick with the beatdown for the win. Got an extra torch, which is good. We're running a little lower on torches than I'd like. Some extra gold and another anti-venom. That torch, we're just going to go ahead and use right away. And continue on our merry way. Now our goal on this is to complete 100% of the battles, so we could finish this without exploring the whole dungeon, and our bonus light from our extra torch has helped us surprise the enemy. That's fantastic. So Half-Cock Jack's going to do a little bit of artillery bombing here, put some damage on everybody. I think we'll have Dr. Moreau go ahead and throw a blight grenade. There's back 2 units now. That only does 1 damage, but they are blighted, so next time they go, they will take a little additional damage. Roderick's accusations not entirely effective. I gotta say, the guy would make a very poor attorney, or at least a prosecuting attorney. Here comes a Tempting Goblet. Tempting Goblet does very little damage, but as you can see, it's gonna freak old Half-Cock Jack right the fuck out. Dr. Moreau carving up one of those bone rabble before they get a chance to go. Little grape shot blast there, and vengeance from Half-Cock Jack pays some dividends. Once again, Roderick J'accuse! This time, double kill. Nicely done.
These nightmarish creatures
Little extra gold, 1 more torch. And the journey continues. Oh, we got scouting here. Fantastic. This is going to show us what's ahead. Alright, so let's take a look here. So we have 2 chests. That's a trap. In this room, there is some kind of heirloom or treasure. Alright, so let's just continue on then. So we found an Iron Maiden. Do we want to open that? Why not? It seems real dumb, but we probably... Oh, he got stuck in it. And has become claustrophobic as a result. So as you can see, Roderick now claustrophobic. He has a severe fear of enclosed spaces. Specifically what that does, we'll just have to find out through adventuring. Since we got scouting, we know there's a trap here. Half-Cock Jack, as our resident rogue, is going to be tasked to disarm that. And of course, he chose to disarm it by simply leaping atop the spikes and taking it to the face. Stack of books here. Books are always good. Let's have our doctor read them. Seems like reading should be something that Dr. Moreau would be into. Check it out, Dr. Moreau. Oh, there's a brand. Oh, apparently you got a copy of Twilight. Am I right, folks? It's disinteresting. Yeah, whatever. That's been done to death. We're gonna burn, I think, 2 torches here. Our light level's down to 74. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and max it back out. Get up to maximum light before we invade this next room. Could be a battle in here. We want as much opportunity to surprise the enemy as possible. We, of course, didn't get it because, hey, good things don't happen to us, so... I mean, Roderick Usher is in charge. Nothing good ever happened to that guy. So, a little bit of blasting grape shot there. What should Dr. Moreau do? I think Dr. Moreau is just going to go ahead and see if we can kill one of these bone soldiers. Man, Dr. Moreau is just brutally efficient when it comes to slicing with that scalpel. The guy does not take no for an answer. Unwanted surgery is his favorite kind of surgery. Alright, so that guy has bashed our highwayman. As you can see, Half-Cock got bumped back 1. Little bit of shot there. That's not going to be too big of a problem, actually, for Half-Cock Jack. He's still reasonably effective from that position. Not a great heal from Madeline. I think we will go with just a straight-up chop here and see if we can kill that guy. No dice. A little unlucky on our damage roll. Dr. Moreau's turn. Dr. Moreau should be able to finish him off, and he does so with aplomb. Madeline's going to throw her big heal here at old Half-Cock Jack, who's taken a recent beating. He beat his cock. Yeah, it's a masturbation joke. Alright, so what should Halfcock do here? I think we'll have him go ahead and go for the bleed. You know what? Open vein is not good. These undead guys actually can't bleed, so that's not going to do fantastic damage for us. Between 4 and 9. We could go for between 3 and 8. That's actually less damage. Well, let's just do the grab shot blast and hit them both then. We could get a 10 out of this. Got 6. It's not fantastic, but it's okay. Roderick takes a little bit of a hit. We're going to have Roderick try and smite this guy. Could potentially kill him. Oh, a massive critical. And as you can see, everybody's stress goes down when we critical the enemy, which is good. This guy's going to try and bump Dr. Moreau back. Of course, if you've seen the island of Dr. Moreau, you know that old Dr. Moreau is not going to be easily moved, because, fuck, Marlon Brando probably weighed 660 when he filmed that. And I exaggerate when I say 660, but not by much, really. So, going to Divine Grace Roderick up here. Heal the Melancholiac. Try and save him from himself. And that's going to close out that particular party. Well done. So, a victory. And we picked up a trinket. So this is a disease charm and gives whoever wears it plus 10% disease resistance with minus 8 max HP. Not really a fantastic trinket, actually. As you can see, trinkets do have a rarity rating. This one's common, so it's not anything special. We're going to take all that. And our quest is complete, so we have completed every fight in the dungeon. Let's check out this fountain, however. Alright, so that water healed us. Lovely. Now, at this point, we could decide to sort of bail on the mission, or we could continue adventuring. Now, we do still have torches, and we don't really stand to lose anything other than maybe a little stress, but as long as we keep our light level high, I think let's check out just one more. Let's do one more here, sort of do a little bit of scouting. We'll keep our light high. Don't really... You know what? Roderick's stress is really low. We can afford a little. He inhales foul vapors and has contracted rabies. So continuing on was... Oh, that's terrible, actually. He does extra damage, but his accuracy is very severely affected. That is not good at all. So Roderick, sort of going the way of the actual original Roderick Usher. He has gone rabid, folks. We did earn an extra 250 gold, which we'll probably spend on curing his rabies, to be perfectly honest.
The way is lit.
A series of very, very painful injections awaits Sir Roderick back in town. And this is empty. You know what? I don't really feel that continuing on is yeah, why not? Let's do a full clear. We'll explore the whole dungeon. We're going to pick up an extra torch. These stands here only ever have one thing. It's just always one extra torch. And honestly, they're one of the best things you can find. Our heroes are hungry, but we still have plenty of food, so we might as well eat it. So Roderick, not heeding the advice of Admiral Akbar and not seeing, it's a trap! Also picking up a considerable amount of extra stress for that. Really, we probably should have just left when we had the chance, but fortune favors the bold, although not in this case, per se. So there we go. Let's take a look at everything we've gathered. Considerable amount of money, 4,450 gold. So total of 7,500 roughly, as well as a bunch of additional heirlooms, which we can use to upgrade our Hamlet, and likely will. So Roderick got fear of mankind, so he's now less accurate and more afraid of human-type monsters. That's fantastic. This guy is a walking ball of psychosis. Let's see how Madeline did. Madeline picked up slow reflexes, which lowers her speed by 1, but she is now an amateur weaponsmith. Apparently she really bulked up swinging that hammer, and her reflexes have suffered as a result. Half-cock Jack, Dr. Moreau didn't learn a fucking thing. So, Roderick Usher, a complete and total nutter at this point. Things not going too well for him.
A crawling chaos.
So there you go. There's a quick introduction to Darkest Dungeon, and I'm going to be playing a lot of this in the near future, so look forward to seeing more of this on every channel. Probably won't be a daily, sort of a daily series for us, of course, but you will be seeing this probably at least 3 times a week, so look forward to that. Of course, if you enjoyed what you saw, feel free to drop a like down in the comments section. Your support really does mean a lot to us. And if you'd like to see more Darkest Dungeon on a regular basis and find out just how fucking crazy Roderick can be before he finally flings himself off a cliff, Emily Bronte style, consider subscribing as well. We'll see you again soon.